All right, guys, so we are back at it here in the shop, and I figured I'd do a quick little update video. So I got a bunch of stuff done to the Subaru, and that's kind of been my main focus. If I've spent any time on anything aside from work, it's been spent on that car. And so we've got a few things really left to dial in on the car before we can, one, actually get it up and running, get it up to temp, and then start tinkering with the tune. I had to send off the Holley digital dash that we had gotten because for some reason it wasn't taking the firmware update and gave us a black screen. Called Holley, they said send it back and they'll update it for us. So that's what we've got going on with in regards to that. Brother was here last weekend, and some news with in regards to that. My brother and his family, they're moving back down here in the next month and a half or so, which will be really nice. So hoping to get more regular content out with him being here. He's not gonna be working with me here in the shop. He's got another job lined up, but he will be able to help me with stuff here in the shop, which will be nice because then that'll kind of help me to get some of the backlog stuff caught up with work, and with Janice's health and everything, it'll just be nice to have him here to help me and to keep me sane. Because this last year has been really, really insane. But anyways, want to do a quick video. So my brother, he was here last week and I mentioned that, right? And we got the hood clearanced for the throttle body. So I'll show you guys that. So got the hood clearanced here. And so that's how it's gonna kind of look. Now, I think I might make a beauty ring that's kind of aluminum because you can see like there's a body line right here. I've thought about making something that will rivet to the hood that'll kind of fill in some of these bigger gaps around the hood. And then we can have that either just painted black and then, you know, rivet it down to where it kind of covers up some of that, but then also kind of adds some structure to this thin sheet because the hood is aluminum. And so that's a thought. But anyways, so when he was here last weekend, my brother went to crank it and I had the dipstick tube out, which is sitting over there. But I had it out because I wanted to paint it because it's just a steel tube and I didn't want to rust or anything like that. So I pulled it out, and we haven't gotten like vents in the valve covers yet. And so he went to crank it and it just shot oil out. So I want to get the hood off this thing really quick, get the valve covers off, drill a couple holes, find out where I want to put the AM bungs and everything. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead. We're going to get the placement for that figured out for the 10 AN bungs for the catch can. And then once we get that sorted, then we can get those bungs welded on there. I might have to make some form of a baffle because these valve covers that I purchased for this car were dry sump covers. So they don't have vent ports in them. So we'll figure that out. We're gonna go ahead and get those covers off. I've got a manifold in there purging right now. So while I'm letting that purge for a minute, I'm gonna go ahead and get the hood off and kind of get some of that stuff sorted. So here we go. We got our catch can. Just a cheap generic catch can. We're gonna run this just for now, and then we might end up upgrading this later. I just have a couple mock-up fittings for right now. So this is just, you know, your standard. Got our 90-degree fitting and then a straight. More than likely what's gonna happen is we're gonna go ahead and use the 90s. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the bung in here like that, right? And then we're gonna fit it up on the car and see where, I kind of think I already know where these are gonna go, but we're gonna go ahead and just mess around with it and see. So I think on both sides, they're gonna go in between 5 and 7, and then 6 and 8. The valve covers popped off, which means plug wires, coils, 4 8mm bolts, and valve covers are coming off. I was mistaken. So we do have a baffle, and the only reason, it's not that that's an issue. If anything, that's a really good thing. The only thing that makes this an issue is that means that since I got to drill behind this plate here, that means I have to get this plate off, which means I got to face down these rivets to get back underneath here to clean it so I can weld these on properly. Not that that in itself's an issue, but yeah, so that is what we gotta do. So we gotta repeat this process on the passenger side, and then we gotta go ahead and get that done. So go from there. This is the driver's side cover, and we have 2 coils that go here, and then we need to figure out where we're gonna put the hole here. I'm just gonna take 2 of these coils, and I'm going to lightly just hand tighten these bolts down so that I have a good reference of where these things actually sit on the cover, so that when I go drilling a hole and welding and doing all that work, I don't have to backtrack and do anything. So I know there's a good, probably 1.5 inch gap here, which that's more than sufficient for what we need to do. So we got our beautiful bung mock-up fitting right there. That'll do. In this area, anywhere in here. I think I'm gonna go more about there. So, yeah. All I'm gonna do is just take this fitting off now. Permanent marker is your best friend. I want it about there. One little. Got our little hole marked. So now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'm gonna cut the hole to mimic this shoulder so that this will sit in there. Oh, you like that sweater? Yeah. Here soon, I am going to have stickers, sweaters, and fitted hats. Unless, of course, people start requesting the adjustable ones or whatever. I've always just worn the new era fitted caps. The only thing about that is you have to then stock, that like specific size. But yeah, so fine. We'll do it, and we'll do it the right way. My center punch, I'm gonna center punch these. And if you do this right, I'll zoom in so you guys can see this. If you do this right, you shouldn't need to do any form of grinding. So let's zoom in. So we got this right here. We're gonna take our good old center punch, and we're just gonna, we got that. Take our 1/4 inch drill bit. Sit on that. That in theory should have been enough to take care of that. So now I'm just gonna repeat that process on all of these.
Now, you might think you want to use a smaller bit. The problem with that is if you use a smaller drill bit, it might leave the shoulder of the rivet. And you don't want that. You want the entire, rivet to actually cut away. And the best way to do that is to have, a wider
faced bit. And honestly, you could even use a bigger, I think that's actually more than, maybe a 1/4 inch bit. Ugh, no, it is. I'm an idiot. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill out these 4 corners here.
This isn't even centered, but it is what it is. So you just make your way back. Oh. Now, some people would tell you to use like a grinder, you know, and kind of cut them down. Which, I mean, let's be real, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I don't know why you'd... I'll be the first to say I don't know why you'd ever want to do that in the first place, but I mean, if you're skinning a cat and you're that desperate, then I guess, you know.
You do what you gotta do, but there are more than one ways, you know, to handle certain tasks. So sometimes you just make do with what you got. In this case, in my head anyways, the best option seems to be to drill these out and then use a flathead screwdriver to try and pop it loose, because there will be a little bit of tension on these. So, ignore that in the background. So, we got all the rivets drilled. Now, I don't have them drilled all the way through because that's not necessary. Now I'm gonna grab a flathead and we're gonna go ahead and try to pop that off. I don't wanna damage this, right? And since there's a kind of a lip right here, I'm just gonna try and see if I can get, there we go, a little give there. Little there, there we go. This one still has a little bit on the shoulder here. All right, so there we go. Tire baffle just came out. You got a nice baffle that just sits right there. And you got this nice big old channel. And so now what we can do is we can properly drill our hole. See, and they put some form of silicone or something to try and seal this thing off. Now that we got that taken care of, we'll go ahead and take our cover, we'll flip it over, and you can see the lovely mark right here. So now I'll just take my little center punch, and I'll just... So we got our divot. Now we'll take our bit, the same bit we were using, and just... hole. Now I'm gonna go grab myself a unibit. Give me one second. Unibit. This is a Cobalt, I believe, or something. I don't know what it is. It's a DeWalt. So we'll go ahead and chuck this homie up. Wish him a farewell. And we're going to step it. So I kind of know, you know, it's gonna be near the 1/2 inch plus mark. We're gonna hog it out. Nowhere near. That's not going to be big enough either. It needs to go down. See how it's got like a step, because it's obviously a step bit or a unibit. So that fits in there, but it's not going all the way through. So now what I'll do is I'll come on the other side and just clean the inside of this up. Seem to fix that. So let's see if we got it. Almost. Seems like this side needs to be cleaned up just a hair. There we go. So now we got a nice straight through hole, right? And that fits, you know, all the way through. Okay. So what I've got done is I got the valve cover all cleaned off. I went and scrubbed it down with some Scotch-Brite and a brush, got her all cleaned up. I haven't gotten all the silicone off. I'm gonna wait until after I get it welded. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that thing tacked on there and then run a bead around it, try to get that thing welded from the inside. If it all goes well on the inside, then I'll just leave it and then not worry about the outside. But if it starts to go cruddy in here, I'll try to get as much as I can, then I'll weld the outside. All right, so that went fairly smoothly. It already had some heat in it because I had kind of warmed it up with a torch and everything. But as you can see, we got a nice weld on the inside. I can even go in there and kind of clean it up a little bit if need be. But that'll do. No weld on the outside, and will look really clean. So that'll do that. That's awesome. That makes me really happy. So now the only thing is going to be getting that baffle welded back in place. So that shouldn't be too hard either. Should be able to just put some tacks on those rivet spots there. So we'll go ahead and get that done, and then she's ready to go right back on the car. All right, so there we go. I know, last time you saw it, it was nice and aluminum. Now it's painted black, but I was able to get it welded without having to do anything. I wasn't able to do the rivet. I had to kind of build up a little weld material and then quickly zap the welder, because that baffles aluminum. So it just got it welded on there. And then obviously that's just a fitting, so I can pick it up without touching the paint or anything. But I had another fitting that I used for covering it. So just some good old Rust-Oleum black paint, and there you go. So that'll do it for this video, you guys. We are getting some crazy weather here in central Illinois. So we're supposed to be getting a bunch of snow tomorrow and stuff. They're saying like 17 inches or something like that. So hopefully I can get back over here and get more stuff done. But I wanted to give you guys an update on this car. We've got a bunch of small stuff we got to get tidied up. I do plan on doing like a whole time-lapse video of building the headers and a bunch of other small fab projects. Like I got to build an ice tank for it and then route the water lines and all that stuff. So we plan on doing a couple episodes, probably like maybe 4 more videos on this car before it's actually like up and running. We got all the stuff done, the exhaust, all that stuff, and then we can actually start gearing up on it. But I wanted to give you guys a video on the WRX. So we got to do the same thing we did to the driver's side valve cover to the passenger side. But that'll do it for this video. Hope you guys stay safe. Have a good week, and you know, just keep on keeping on with life. Things happen, and one thing I've learned over the years is there's 2 ways you can handle situations. One, you can either allow that situation or individual to literally bring you down to the point where you can barely function, or you can just admit that it sucks, it's rough, and move on with your life. Try to be positive. And majority of the time what you'll find is that just by simply thinking positively, you'll not only impact the way you feel, but the people around you and the people that you love. So yeah, stay healthy. I will see you guys in the next one. Be safe. And if you like the video, subscribe and like, and I'll try to, you know, keep posting regularly. So have a good one, guys.